like that.
Yeah, what better way to start a podcast?
I think it's pretty good.
My name's Eric D.
Who
Who you be?
I be? I am Andrew James, the one who sees dimly.
And we decided we have such a good time hanging out with each other, we might as well talk about stuff that we like and in hopes that somebody else may like it too, and put it out there for the airwaves, and perhaps somebody else may like it as well. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to call this podcast Riff On.
Riff On?
And it's going to have a couple of different connotations with that. We're both huge music junkies. Andrew James, a player as well. So you're going to hear guitar riffs and ukulele riffs, and we're going to talk about musical riffs, musical inspiration, and that being a huge passion of ours. And we're also going to use the connotation of riff, meaning to talk about. And we're going to be talking about a lot of different things, namely Vermont, since that's where we're from.
Yep.
Craft beer, since that's what we drink.
We do that. We did one of those companies, those marketing things.
We're going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about marketing. I think we'll end up talking about hats. I'm a hat guy.
I used to be a hat guy. Now that I'm getting close to 40, though, I'm finding that I have less hair. Like, it's like I take the hat off and all my hair comes with it.
Well, that's the reason to wear the hat.
Well, now it is. It didn't used to be.
It's exactly why I wear a
Remember,
hat.
when in high school, did you have a game hat or a starter hat?
No, I had a African hippie hat, if you want to call it that.
African hippie? Oh, man. I had my, in high school, I wore a Duke game hat. Do you remember the game?
I don't.
You don't remember the game? You remember starter hats?
I do remember starter hats. They're making a comeback. Starter jackets are making a comeback.
Like the Walmart bought starter, and so people go to Walmart and they buy the starter jackets, or they get like the vintage starter jacket.
I haven't read too much more into it, but they're going to come back hard when they come back.
Wait, where did you see this? Was it on the internet?
It was on the internet. Don't you believe everything you see on the internet?
No, Abraham Lincoln told me not to, man.
I read it on the Twitters.
You read it on the Twitters? Okay. So starters coming back. Ooh, I like that. Can we have a trending segment at some point?
Absolutely. We're going to talk trends. We're definitely going to be talking about Twitter because we both love Twitter.
We do the Twitters thing. Do you do the Instagram thing? IG?
I do the Instagram thing. I do all the, I'd say, popular social media, but Snapchat is still a little beyond me.
You're not doing Snapchat? Why not? Why don't you snap?
I have it. I don't know how to use it. I think my 6-year-old knows how to use it better than I do.
Was it don't be scared off by the filters? I think the nice thing about Snapchat is, so when Vine left the zeitgeist, it left a big hole, right? And so people love these 30-second videos. And I think one thing where you can utilize Snapchat is it allows you to record a video really quick. Like we could actually do a quick Snapchat right now. People would see what we were doing if they were interested in that. And then send it out, and it just goes out, but it's not a Vine where you can go back to it. It just goes away. Yeah. I know people call it like...
The disappearing thing is... I don't need to do that.
You don't need to do the disappearing thing?
I've read they're changing their format, if you will, and they're separating the Friends channel from the media channel, and that kind of like. So I'm going to go give it a look-see. But we'll talk about Snapchat.
I watch. Here's the thing. I haven't watched SportsCenter in like 4 years. I just don't have time for it. It's not my deal. From like 1992 until 2006, love SportsCenter. On Snapchat, I watch SportsCenter every single day because I'm checking out what my friends are doing. They're sending me funny snaps, sending snaps of their kids. And then, it's not all dick pics and college kids on Snapchat.
Let's hope not. All right. We're going to riff on Snapchat in another episode. How's that? So we're going to end up talking about sports then. I'm a huge sports guy. We're both Celtics fans.
Celtics fans. That's it, though. Everything after that is we're going to butt heads.
That's okay. I mean, but we can still talk pro football. I'm a Cowboys fan.
I'm a Patriots fan.
That's all right.
We don't, baseball is where we're going to butt heads, especially with Derek Jeter, just giving Giancarlo Stanton to the Yankees.
Hey, I take him. I'm a Yankees fan. I'm going to take Stanton.
Hey, here's a gift for you.
Hey, we gave you Sterling Castro. No, sorry, I can't even say you because you're a Red Sox fan.
No, you can say you. It's like Derek Jeter's like, oh man. Although I was listening to a podcast earlier in the week, and they did say They did say Jeter giving Giancarlo to the Yankees is like Kevin McHale giving Kevin Garnett to the Celtics.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. I can totally see that.
It is like that.
Hey, I'll say thank you, Captain. You're still treating us well even after retirement. So we'll riff on baseball because we both like baseball. And what? Pitchers and catchers report in like 65 days.
It's crazy.
So I love it. I love it. Our seasons are shorter and shorter. You know what? We're not going to riff on skiing and snowboarding because I don't do that. I don't do winter sports. What about you?
I do, yeah. Liz, the other half of the Owl Stars. The Owl Stars is the band that Elizabeth and I play in around the Burlington area, but Liz works at Smugs, so we do that. We do the snowboard ski family thing.
You can bring her in to talk about that episode. We'll bring in guests. I'm not going to talk about winter stuff.
We won't. We can stay away from politics, I think.
We should definitely stay away from politics as we wait for the Alabama results to come in here.
Oh, man.
It's frustrating. So we won't talk about sports. Politics. We won't talk about politics. And so let's see what else. We can talk about our high school alma mater. How's that?
We can, yeah.
We both went to Milton High School.
We did both go to Milton High School in Vermont. On the scenic Lake Champlain. A lot of people give Milton a bad rap, but it's like you're right on the lake. You're like 30 minutes from the mountain. It's almost like living in Tahoe.
Yeah, if you're blind, sure. It's like living in Tahoe. I've never been to Tahoe, but I'll believe you there. So we'll talk about Milton High School at one point in time, Milton, Vermont. We'll definitely talk about outdoors in Vermont in the summertime. I would say we'll definitely riff on that.
Man, we're gonna talk about shows. You know what I'm super excited to talk to you about is because you're a lot older than me. Talking about the local Burlington scene in the 1990s.
Okay, just for clarification, I'm like 2.5 years older than you, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about the music scene, old and new. We've both got friends presently playing, formerly playing, sometimes playing. You play in the Owl Stars.
You do.
Formerly of Citizen Bear. So we're definitely going to talk about the Vermont music scene. We're going to talk about podcasting because, I was anti-podcasting until I just launched another one with my real persona a month and a week ago, and I'm 4 episodes in, and I love it, and I actually loved it so much that I wanted to start another one. So we're going to talk about podcasting. It's a
podcasting.
Goofy name. That's my thing. It's a goofy name.
Podcasting is something I've done now for the last year and a half with Carrie Henry, DJ on The Point. Which is a radio station in Vermont.
You know what we're going to riff on? We're going to riff on radio.
That would be great. That would be fantastic.
We're definitely going to riff on radio. I actually went to college to be a radio DJ. So I have very, very strong opinions about commercial radio, all radio in general for that matter, even XM Sirius. So we're definitely going to riff on radio. We're going to riff on live music and the music, definitely as we mentioned the music scene, but going out and seeing bands in the clubs.
Yeah, support your local music. Because life's a lot better when you have local musicians who want to stick around in your area.
Or come back and visit. That's definitely a thing.
Because it's nice to go out and grab a pint and then hear music and be like totally surprised by what you have at the bar. You're like, just going to go grab a pint. We'll see. Go meet my mates. And because I'm not from Europe, but I could be. Go meet your mates at the pub for a pint and then just have some kid rip your face off.
Yeah.
Or have some... You know what I love is the 76-year-old who gets up and you're just like, what's this guy going to do? And all of a sudden he's just dropping like these sick blues riffs and just singing from his heart. And you're like, oh, man, this is ridiculous. Like, where's this guy been? Where's he been hiding?
Yeah, he's probably been in the clubs for years and he didn't even know it because he's not a household name.
Right.
There's a lot to riff on.
There's a lot to riff on.
There really is, and I think that's why we were kind of excited to do this, because we found that when we get together and hang out, our brains are all over the place. We just bounce back and forth, and we kind of have a lot of mutual interests, and our brain just goes here, there, and everywhere, and we end up confusing other people that we're hanging out with because we're all over the place.
Right. We're not millennials, but we're like trans millennials, as my brothers like to call me.
I don't know how to take that. I am.
Like we fall in like not quite Generation X, not quite a millennial, kind of like right in the middle there.
Okay.
I think I don't know about you, but I started playing video games and started programming different things on a computer when I was 3 years old in 1981. Do the math, you'll figure it out. In 1981, we had an Atari 800, and I love Pac-Man, and I love Galaxian, and I wanted more games, and my dad's like, you can't have any more games, but here's a magazine, type up your own games.
Excellent.
So I started sitting there just typing in code.
Well, very good. Wow, you know what? We're going to end up riffing on video games because I remember starting even pre-Atari playing on a ColecoVision.
ColecoVision.
And going through Atari and having a PC Junior and having a Nintendo and then a Super Nintendo and then a Sega Genesis and a Sega CD. And now finally a PS3. I don't even play for video games. I use it for Netflix. You know what? We're going to end up riffing on Netflix and riffing on television. I don't have cable, but we're going to talk about what's going on streaming services.
Streaming services is like huge right now. And it's really interesting to think about streaming services. And some of the best programming right now is coming out of streaming services. You think about Stranger Things. You think about Orange is the New Black. Man. What are some of these other shows that just aren't even tying themselves to a network anymore? They're just like
Ozark is one of the hot ones right now with Jason Bateman.
Rick and Morty, right? Was that Louis C.K.? Are we gonna get into some of the stranger pop culture things that are going on right now?
Potentially, but I may need to do some research before we talk about it.
We probably should do research and not slander people.
We shouldn't misrepresent. Especially our own opinions. The last thing we want to do is misrepresent our own opinions. I mean, we can be wrong, but I don't think I'm ever going to be wrong.
I mean, in pop culture, it's been pretty interesting what some of the driving narratives are. Love that read today Rose McGowan on Twitter saying feminism isn't a dirty word anymore. And since I am also a father, probably riff on being parents.
Parenting. Definitely riff on parenting, yes.
Since I am a father of 2 girls, trying to raise them in a man's world, the trends are very where the break in culture is going. I think is very encouraging if you're trying to raise young women in this man-centric culture.
Yeah, you've got 2 young women. I've got a young woman in L.A. living with her mom and a very young woman, if you will, that lives under this roof. So I have 2 as well.
Where are we? I feel like we could... I thought we were at the top of Mount Mansfield.
We are in the Riff On Studios in Colchester, Vermont. For the time being, until we end up being in the Riff On Studios in Underhill, Vermont.
Or the Riff On Studios at Shelburne Museum, just hanging out, watching Michael Frente just melt our minds.
I haven't seen him in a while.
I love that dude.
I do too. There's a lot of stuff to riff on. I'm actually pretty excited about doing this.
I know.
And I'm really excited about just having this little intro, episode 000, down behind us. We just talked about 20 different things that we can riff on.
We sure did.
So the show notes will be interesting because it'll actually give us a little template as to what to perhaps go into for episodes 1 through 20.
I know, right? The shows will be a lot more centered than this.
Yeah, you think so.
I know, they probably won't be.
Don't be in denial,
Maybe
man.
instead of Riff On, we should call this Rabbit Trail.
No, it's Squirrel Brain. Squirrel Brain. That's my latest thing. So, tell you what, let's wrap up episode 000 so we can really riff on something new.
All right.
And the next one. So, I'm Eric D.
Andrew James.
And we'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in to Riff On.